What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today, I am bringing you guys a new show, guys. A brand new show that I am launching here on the YouTube channel, also on the Twitch channel, guys. You guys can watch these live on Twitch. If you are watching it live, what's up, everybody? As I said, my name is Zero. And, guys, this is our very first episode of the 8 Below show. I'm super excited about it, guys, and I'm going to kind of get into all that this show is going to encompass and what we're going to be talking about here tonight. This show, I'm excited about it. I really am, guys. This is, of course, a gaming podcast more than anything. We're just going to be talking about video games and giving you guys some insight into what it all means as far as, in the world of esports as well as just gaming in general. We may go off topic a little bit. We may talk about other things on the show as well, but it's going to be a show that we do on a weekly basis, and then maybe over time we'll start doing it on a daily basis, or maybe like on the weekdays or the weekends or something. But we're going to start on a weekly basis. But guys, I want to say thank you so much for all of the support that we've been getting on the YouTube channel, which is where you guys can, of course, watch these VODs of the 8 Below show. That's on youtube.com/ZeroStarcraft. If you just put in Zero TV, it should bring up the channel with relative ease. So I'm excited, guys. Let's talk about what the show is. So this show, guys, is something that I actually started on my second channel on Zero 2 a while back. It was about 10 months ago. It was called the 8 Below podcast. And on it, we basically were just talking about just gaming and esports, but I would sometimes bring guests onto the show, guest stars onto the podcast, and we would just talk about things within the world of gaming, things that we found interesting within the world and realm of esports. And so it was really exciting, but I've found that as I've been kind of evolving both of my YouTube channels, it seems like people really want to see more so my gameplay or my live streams on the second channel, which would be more like just gameplay. And then on the main channel is where people are more interested in commentaries. And so that's what we're going to be doing here on this channel. Is we're going to be doing, obviously it's a structured show where we're going to be talking about a number of topics throughout the course of the show. The show should run about an hour long each episode. And you guys will kind of get a feel for what it's all about here tonight and what we're going to do. Now, tonight it's just going to be myself. And sometimes, guys, the show will just be me. Other times, I will bring guests onto the show. And let me know who you guys want to see on the show that we can talk to and try to get multiple opinions. I would love to bring people onto the show who are pretty well versed in whatever topic we're talking about, whatever game we're talking about. So tonight, guys, we're going to be talking all about Riot Games and the announcements that they made. And I'm really excited to talk about that. And we're going to be talking about kind of pretty much everything that they kind of talked about in their live stream on Twitch that they made about a number of different games, new games that are coming out, as well as some, they're kind of adding on some things to League of Legends as well. They're really expanding upon the lore and the story of League of Legends just by all the stuff that they're going to be doing here in the future. And we're going to be talking about all those things here tonight, and I'm excited about it. But like I said, guys, that's kind of what the show is going to be. Sometimes there will be a guest on the show. Sometimes it'll just be myself rambling and talking. And I would love to get you guys all involved in the conversation. Let me know in the comment section below or in the live chat what you guys think about these topics that we're going to be talking about on any given basis in the show. Okay, so this is episode 1, guys, of the 8 Below show. And tonight we're talking about Riot Games as far as them, making some insane moves, in my opinion, to take over esports. So let's talk about that. So first of all, Riot Games, guys, they celebrated 10 years of League of Legends. So congratulations to Riot Games. Congratulations to the entire community of League of Legends, a game that I absolutely love. I love League of Legends. I'm really bad at playing the game, guys, but I got to say that I love the game nonetheless. It's an incredible game. They do an absolutely phenomenal job with League of Legends. But That being said, though, it's going to be interesting to see what the next 10 years looks like. And it looks like they plan on continuing the legacy that they've built with League of Legends, and it looks like they're really trying to expand upon that. And I think that this is something interesting that really kind of caught my attention while watching that live stream last night or the other day, was that they are aggressively, even though they didn't say it, they are aggressively trying to seek victory in gaming and esports. When I say that, guys, I mean like how they are trying to take over the gaming and esports industries. I really think it's more so esports. They want to own esports, and you can just kind of see by the level of just content that they're going to be bringing out. It looks quite remarkable. Now, guys, I'm going to be going ahead and we're going to be discussing a couple of articles. There's a couple of articles that I was reading, and I wanted to share some of those with you. If you guys are watching this on, on YouTube, or you're just listening to this in the car, I'm going to read some of these articles word for word. And then, of course, if you're watching this live on Twitch or you're watching it as a VOD on YouTube, you can, of course, see what we're going to be going through here on screen. That being said, though, guys, let's get into this thing. So we're going to start with the Washington Post, guys. So the Washington Post made or wrote an article. And within this article, guys, they basically, the title of it says Riot Games is diversifying its portfolio beyond League of Legends and into Hollywood. And so this is kind of an interesting take on it. I mean, they are getting into Hollywood, guys, obviously, with the animated series that they are making, which I believe is called Arcane. Or I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but I believe it's called Arcane. And so they're getting into the animated series within, obviously doing that. And I'm not sure if that's going to be on Netflix. I didn't really follow exactly how that's going to come about on the animated series, but nonetheless, it's very exciting. They got a really nice picture here, of course, of the big project, in my opinion, which is Project A, which of course I think is going to be an absolutely insane, incredible game. And we're going to talk about that here shortly. But anyways, this article, guys, just for a frame of reference, was written by Noah Smith, and Riot Games has generated billions of dollars over the past 10 years, and in the process created a highly influential globe-spanning esports league. All of this success revolved around a single video game, League of Legends. That is about to change to a degree. The Los Angeles-based company announced Tuesday a slate of new games, many of which are scheduled to be released next year. The new game titles will be in addition to an animated series based on League of Legends and a documentary Riot financed about the origins of the game, which debuted on Netflix tonight. So that's interesting. So I didn't realize that the origins of the game, or the documentary that Riot brought out, was actually debuted on Netflix. That'll be interesting. I should probably watch that. I wonder if it's the same thing that they live streamed, or if it's something a little bit different. That'll be interesting to check out. All of the new games except for one are set in the League of Legends universe and will feature that game's characters or champions as they're better known to League players. The new titles include a card game, a fighting game, multiplayer online battle arena game, open world game, and an esports simulator, seemingly akin to the Football Manager franchise. The non-league based title is codenamed Project A and is being described as a tactical shooter that will be set on Earth. Guys, really quick, I gotta say that this game, I know the graphics and such, they look a little bit different, right? I don't think that this is the final form, though, obviously. I know a lot of people were kind of saying that the graphics didn't look really up to standard. They didn't look that great. I look at Project A as a combination of a couple of games. It looks, some of the guns kind of look like they give a nod to Call of Duty, and then it looks a lot like CSGO, obviously, and then also Overwatch because of the abilities and such. So we're going to talk about Project A here shortly, but we'll continue here. As it states, new games from Riot have been widely expected yeah, expected by its fans and industry observers for many years, even as the company's 10-year-old flagship title still sees a peak of about 8 million concurrent players daily, according to a September announcement from the company. So, to give you guys all my overall thoughts on the stream that came out, the 10 years of League of Legends, I think that they did a remarkable job. I really do. And I got to say, guys, that not even that long ago, a couple weeks ago, I was talking to my brother about what would it be like if Riot Games and Epic Games decided to make new titles. And this is really interesting, guys. Like, I mean, if you really think about this, Riot Games and Epic Games are basically two of the biggest companies in the world right now, right? If they had more games, like if they had more IPs that they were working on, because you look at Epic Games, they're only working on Fortnite. You look at Riot Games, they are only working on League of Legends. So that's what it seemed for a long time. But as we all see now, that is not the case. It seems as though we were certainly wrong about. They've been working on many things, that being Riot Games, and who knows what Epic Games is doing or working on, other than Fortnite. And the reason why I'm talking about Epic Games and Riot Games, guys, they're owned by the same company, that being Tencent. So Tencent owns Riot Games fully. They own about 50%, 40 or 50% of Epic Games, okay? They also own about 5%, I believe, of Activision Blizzard, which is the other gaming juggernaut that, of course, has the Overwatch League as well as the Call of Duty League that was newly announced, and that's going to be going into effect here shortly. But that's another discussion for another day. But I think what Riot Games is doing is they are on a full-blown attempt at taking over esports as we know it. As in, guys, I mean, I don't think that they're going to be able to take over the entire landscape, but I think that they're going to be taking a lot of that revenue share or that viewership from other games, that being CSGO, especially because of the Project A, that is codenamed Project Ares. Also, we can also talk about the card game that was announced, which of course was called The Legends of Runeterra, which is going to probably rival that of Hearthstone. And I know that a lot of people were saying, well, this could just be like another artifact, which was, the Dota version or the Dota card game, and it really did not do well whatsoever. But I got to say that I have a feeling that Riot Games, it's interesting that all of a sudden we're seeing all these games, all these new IPs. I have to imagine that some of them won't do very well and others will do very well. I would be very surprised if they did all very well, just because, they've really only worked on League of Legends at this point, right? So, getting back to that, I mean, as far as the stream is concerned, I thought that they did a really phenomenal job with the stream. The flow of it felt really good. They were kind of giving a nod to the fans. They were kind of excited to continue the League of Legends legacy and that franchise, but they also wanted to add in there that there's so much more that they're working on. This is starting to feel like Disney, okay? Guys, Disney, as a company, not only do they basically own entertainment as a whole. When we are talking about, movies, and when we talk about just entertainment in that kind of format, right? Or if we're talking about, having theme parks, all those different things, they own the film industry, in my opinion. Owning Marvel, owning Lucasfilm, which of course is Star Wars. They own a lot of these different franchises that people just love, right? Riot Games I'm starting to get this feeling that Riot Games is trying to go in this kind of direction. They hinted during the live stream of that they wanted to kind of think outside of the box. They want to have multiple ways for the fan base of League of Legends to also be able to kind of connect with League of Legends, but in different ways, and also just connect more with Riot Games. There's just other things that they want to do. And that really got me thinking, is Riot Games going to be working on a theme park eventually? And that's probably a whole nother discussion for another day. But I'm wondering if they would really do a League of Legends theme park. I don't see why they wouldn't, or at least something kind of along those lines, maybe like just a League of Legends themed ride or something it's just, I got a vibe, at least that's just me. I got this vibe that was something that they were certainly thinking about. Other than that, I was also thinking that, with all the different games that they've got, planned here, I just feel like, man, they could really take over the gaming landscape. I mean, they really could. I mean, guys, we're talking Project A. So let's kind of talk about Project A here. I definitely want to talk about it. There were a number of things that were discussed on Twitter. There was also a number of things that have been brought up here that I found incredibly interesting. There was a couple of these tweets that I liked quite a bit of these tweets and such, and I kind of want to go ahead and talk a little bit about it with all of you, because I find that this is something that could be absolutely huge. It could change so much, not only about esports, but just gaming in general. Riot Games is making an aggressive approach to be taking over. It really feels like take over esports. I mean, for real. I mean, it really does. So here we go once again. We are going to check this out, guys. So obviously, there was a number of different tweets that I liked. Rod Breslow, or also known as Slasher. We're just gonna go by Slasher, guys, right? He tweeted a bunch of stuff, and I liked some of those things, and because I think that he's a very good source within the esports and just gaming community when it comes to, he'll post different things, and I think a lot of the things that he says regarding, especially what he's talking about with Riot Games and what they're doing, I got to agree with some of the stuff he's saying. But anyways, he tweeted out saying Riot Games will announce a new digital card game titled Legends of Runeterra during the League of Legends 10th anniversary event today, which obviously that was something that already happened. He says that Riot Games is also developing an anime set in the world of League of Legends, also to be announced. So a lot of this was obviously things that were announced, right? Dexterdo tweeted, posting that, it was set to announce a digital card game, it was a really big deal. And I would highly recommend, guys, if you haven't already seen the live stream or the VOD of that live stream that Riot put together, the 10th anniversary edition of League of Legends was absolutely incredible. I would highly recommend checking it out. So this is where it gets interesting. Riot Games now has League of Legends, the biggest video game in the world, teamfight tactics, an FPS game, fighting game, card game. Riot making a run to be the king of esports, and they very well might do it. I can't really disagree with this. They're certainly making a run to be the king of esports. I mean, they may even be making a run to be just like the monopoly within gaming. I mean, it's very hard to say, but that being said, I got to agree with this statement overall. They very well might do it, guys. I mean, it's very hard to say. Now, Riot FPS is internally codenamed Ares. It is a spiritual successor to Counter-Strike. Oh man, a spiritual successor to Counter-Strike. And this was something that was also very interesting about this, guys. Riot has had several current and former pro CS players and former pro Overwatch players try out and playtest Project Ares over the past year, which has been in development for several years, sources said. They have all given it nearly unanimous praise. Guys, Project Ares, Project A, whatever you want to call it, the spiritual successor to Counter-Strike, the rival to Counter-Strike, the rival to Overwatch, the rival to Call of Duty, this game could be that. And I think when we talk about like the first-person shooters, we probably are mainly, talking about Counter-Strike, because that's kind of the biggest game within esports when it comes to a first-person shooter, right? But this is something, guys. This is certainly something that could really turn the tide of of esports, or really just first-person shooters as well. Like, let's just talk, about that Project A or Project Ares. I'm going to call it right now. I'm going to say that it's going to be the next big esport. It's going to be the next big esport. And when we talk big esports, guys, this is a huge task that Riot is that is obviously, they're obviously going through with it. I would hate to see that this game get canceled or something like that somewhere within development, right? But I got to say that this has quickly become on the top of my list of most anticipated games coming at some point in the future. And when I say that was up there with Death Stranding. When Death Stranding was announced, The Last of Us 2, when that was announced, those became my most anticipated games that we didn't know when they were coming out. And obviously it was, when those were announced, it was a few years ago, and now we're finally going to be getting Death Stranding. We're finally going to be getting The Last of Us 2. I feel like this is a game that's kind of taken that place of Death Stranding, The Last of Us 2. It's kind of up there with like Max Payne 4. Because I'm just really anticipating, like, I'm hoping that a Max Payne 4 comes out. It hasn't been announced yet, but something like that, GTA 6, some of these games that haven't even been announced yet that are on my anticipated list, this has gone to the top because it's been announced that Project A or Project Ares is coming, and we saw footage of it. And that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. I mean, really, I am so excited to see more of this. What do you guys think, though? Do you guys think that Project Ares, is it going to compete with the likes of CSGO? Is it going to compete with the likes of Overwatch and the Call of Duty League? Obviously, we don't know how the Call of Duty League is going to be and how big that's going to be, but could it compete with those games in a way where it almost takes over? I would say, guys, that there is a very good chance that could happen. I just wouldn't be surprised. This is a game that looks to me, it really does look like a spiritual successor to CSGO. Now, I'm not saying that the graphics look better or anything like that. I think the graphics, let's see what it looks like, next year. Are the graphics going to improve, or are they going to kind of stick with that type of cartoony kind of look? I mean, I guess it's not really even cartoony. It does look a little bit like CSGO. It looks a little bit like Overwatch. There's things that obviously it's in the very early stages, right? I think. I mean, I know it's been in development for a few years, but I'm sure that it's not, I would say we're probably not going to, can't really expect to see Project Ares until, we would be lucky to see it in 2020. I would say 2021, maybe even 2022. I would say 2021 is probably when we'll see it. It sounds like there might be a beta in maybe 2020, and then 2021 we get like that, we start seeing a ton of footage and we really get a feel for it. Maybe it just goes into an alpha stage, goes into a beta stage, and then of course we get the game. It's really hard to say, especially with Riot, because we don't really have a track record here. The only thing that we've got is League of Legends. So that's not a whole lot to go by. I mean, they've been very consistent with League of Legends. They listen to the community. They do a very good job of that. I just don't know, though. Are they going to move is it going to be kind of a quick, after they announce it, are they going to really get this thing rolling to a point where it comes out in the next year? Or, sooner than that? It's very hard to tell. I feel like all of these things that they announced are not going to be coming out. Some of them will probably come out in 2020. Others, I think, are going to come out in 2021. I think even others may even come out in 2022. It's hard to say. I would love to hear from you guys what you guys think about that. Do you think that we're going to be seeing the Project Ares next year? Or are we, obviously we're going to be seeing it, but is it going to be like, are we going to be able to play it? Are we going to be able to play a beta? Are we going to be able to actually just buy the game, download the game? Is it going to be free to play? Is it going to be, one of those games where you have to pay to play it? We just don't know. But all I got to say is that it looks very good. It looks very interesting, I should say. Out of everything, it's got me very excited because it looks a little bit like Overwatch, but it looks more like CSGO. And it just looks, it's got esport title written all over it. It's got a big esport. It's got like big esport is coming soon. Valve, you better figure it out and quick, because this game is coming. And I think what that's going to end up doing, guys, is it's going to force Valve and other game publishers, whether that be Activision, Blizzard, whoever it is, to start really kind of, if these games don't have much competition, like if Valve doesn't have much competition with CS and they don't really care that much about, updating the game or updating the graphics or making a CSGO 2 or just, whatever, CS2, they need to start getting a move on it, because this is showing us that they are here to compete, and they are here, not only just to compete, but to try to take over, whether we are talking about, Project Ares, or if we're talking about the card game, Legends of Runeterra. They are trying to take over, and there is a significant push at that, in my opinion. But let me know what you guys all think in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you guys as far as that's concerned, as far as Project Ares. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that this is going to be the next CSGO? Do you think it's going to be bigger than CSGO? Do you think it's going to be the next COD or the next Overwatch? How do you think it's going to coexist within these other games that are out there? I feel like I trust Riot. They've done a really good job with League of Legends. Let's see what they got. Let's see what they, bring it on. Let's see what they've got when it comes to a first-person shooter. I'm all in. You guys know me. I love first-person shooters. I want to see it. I want to see what they got. All right. So, guys, to continue here, I want to continue this article that was written by the Washington Post. And we're going to kind of, talk more about Riot Games and, obviously them celebrating the 10 years of League of Legends, but also just kind of what the plan is for Riot Games and what they're trying to do. We have the benefit of being able to be long-term, Mark Merrill, co-founder of the Riot Games, said to the Washington Post. We don't have to go push out a product to meet some quarterly deadline or revenue target or whatnot. Riot is owned by Tencent, a Chinese technology and entertainment conglomerate. Merrill said that the long gap between Riot's new offerings has been due to a confluence of factors, including a constant evaluation process in light of ongoing development in the rapidly evolving video game industry. He brought up Hearthstone, a massively popular card game based on Blizzard's Warcraft series, as a reason his team reevaluated Riot's card game offering, which Merrill said has been in the works for 8 years and has gone through multiple starts and stops. We had to adjust how we were doing things, Merrill said. Michael Pachter, an analyst at Wedbush Securities, believes the new games will buoy Riot's revenue, owing to the League of Legends audience, which extends to the hundreds of millions if all of the game's players over the years are included. Their competitive advantage is the huge number of League of Legends fans, he said. He is skeptical about their tactical shooter, however. Merrill said the tactical shooter will attempt to build deeper characters and worlds compared to current games on the market, as well as add broader avenues for strategic depth and expression. Riot has not revealed a release date for that game. Riot's league-based card game, called Legends of Runeterra, will introduce new League of Legends characters and allow players to directly acquire cards as opposed to relying on luck through randomized packs. It is scheduled for PC and mobile next year. So I think this is probably a good time to talk about the Legends of Runeterra. One thing I want to mention, guys, about this is where Merrill said that the game has gone through multiple starts and stops. This makes me a little bit nervous, I'm not going to lie, because when you start hearing things along the lines of, a game has gone through a bunch of starts, it's gone through some stops as well, and they keep, they keep on going, through kind of through everything over and over again. As far as the development process, that reminds me of kind of like a development hell. It feels like Legends of Runeterra very well may have been in development hell for a while, because it sounds like it's been something that's been in the works for a long time, but because it's been through this development hell, that makes me a little bit concerned, to be honest with you. I just don't know. It looks cool. Like, from what we've seen so far, it looks pretty good. It looks like a fun game. I'm not the best person to talk to when it comes to card games. I've never really played Magic the Gathering. I haven't played Hearthstone. I've watched other people play it, but it's just not. It's not a game, or I guess you really could say a genre, that is something that's in my realm of confidence. I feel much better about a first-person shooter, a third-person shooter, a strategy game, a real-time strategy game, or, an MMORPG, or, things of that nature. I'm just, the card games just really are not something that are in my area of confidence. But that's not to say that this isn't going to be a good game. It's been through development hell, obviously, that was basically confirmed for us, but it still looks good, and it still may very well be a good game, but it feels kind of concerning when you hear things along those lines, because then I'm starting to wonder, you start thinking about Artifact and what happened there with Dota, and it just kind of is a little bit concerning. A brand and a title, a strong IP can only take a game so far. It's got to be a good game. It's got to have good word of mouth. It's got to have people talking, coming back, and playing it over and over again. And I just don't know if Legends of Runeterra is going to be that thing. It very well might be, but it's going up against some stiff competition, which that being Hearthstone as the main focal point. Magic the Gathering would be the other, kind of focal point as well. We'll kind of have to see and kind of wait on that a little bit, right? Because it does kind of... It seems like one of those things, right? That I don't know. I just am a little bit concerned about it, to be quite honest with you guys. But I think that it's going to be a good game. We got to wait and see. I know some people were already saying that were able to start playing the game earlier, like the beta phase that came out. It's like very limited on how many people are able to play it right now. But I think that's cool. I mean, it's cool that people are getting their hands on it. It sounds pretty positive. There's some people saying that there's things about it that aren't that great, but for the most part, it seems like people are enjoying the game. We'll have to kind of wait and see when the full game comes out. They had really good ideas. I'll give them that. 100% had really good ideas about the card game, but I'm just concerned as to where does that go here? Where do we, how does that translate, long term in this game? And I know that you look at Riot Games, they're in this for the long term with all of these projects, and you can see that. I would say Legends of Runeterra is probably one of the games that they announced that I'm a little bit concerned about. And it's not because of it being a card game, it's the fact that it's gone through a development hell. So guys, now talking about Team Fight Tactics, which of course is the mobile game that is going to be releasing for Riot Games, which is exciting, but it is an existing League of Legends mode called Team Fight Tactics, which is like auto chess mixed with a last player standing battle royale game, will be available on mobile next year. The MOBA game League of Legends Wild Rift will feature 5-on-5 gameplay and will be available to play on mobile next year. Riot did not announce when it will be available on consoles. The fighting game, codenamed Project L, is in early stage development. Project F is the open world game. Riot offered scant details related to those games, which is very true. They really didn't give us a whole heck of a lot of information about, especially Project F, which is the open world game. They really did not give us much at all about that. That's why I feel that some of these games are going to be releasing way sooner than others, like the first-person shooter game Project Ares, the card game Legends of Runeterra. Those are things that we're going to be seeing very soon. I think the teamfight tactics, we're going to be seeing that very soon as well. It should be interesting. I would say some of these things, like I said, we're going to see. A lot of these are going to be pretty far down the road. Some of them look like they're going to be, sooner rather than later. The developments today follow a period in which the company faced a series of issues brought to light by the media and legal action. First came a report from Kotaku and a class action lawsuit over claims of gender discrimination and sexual harassment. The lawsuit was settled last August, though Riot said in a blog post that we can confidently state that gender discrimination in payer promotion, harassment, and retaliation are not systemic issues at Riot. Over 100 Riot employees staged a walkout last May over contract clauses requiring arbitration. Riot said the company will give employees the option to opt out of that clause after the current round of litigation is completed. So there is that. Of course, that's kind of been like weighing on things over at Riot Games, but if you're kind of like a casual gamer, you might not have even really heard a lot of those things that were kind of going on over at Riot. But that being said, along with the video game announcements, the Los Angeles-based company also marked its entry into Hollywood. Arcane is an animated series that was produced in-house and focuses on 2 characters from League of Legends. Another new offering, League of Legends Origins. It's a feature-length documentary by Academy Award-nominated director Leslie Iwerks. It details how the game and its community have grown over the years. So that's where you can see it, guys. I should say that's probably the documentary that they're talking about that went on Netflix, possibly. Maybe it's not. I'm not sure. But League of Legends Origins, which is really cool that it's a feature-length documentary. Arcane, that animated series, that's really exciting as well. I mean, these are all very cool things, but you can see they're even being upfront with us. Riot is like, look, we saw things within Hearthstone that were really cool, and so we kind of wanted to have our own card game. We saw things within CS:GO that are really cool. We want to make a first-person shooter. I mean, they're just being honest with us, and it's like they want to be that spiritual successor to CS:GO. They want to be the next big thing in the card community, in the fighting community, within open worlds and mobile games. It's pretty cool that they are really trying to expand upon what has made them so great over the years. Until now, Riot's status as a single game maker, Merrill referenced an internal joke that labeled the company Riot Game, stood in marked contrast its competition at Electronic Arts and Activision Blizzard, which put out multiple high-profile games every year. One of the differences between Riot and Blizzard is that, in my understanding, Blizzard loves to make games in terms of being epic, Merrill said, adding that grew up playing Blizzard games. If Riot were to have a word to describe us, it would be authentic and good at valuing the things that matter most to our players and not doing a bunch of things that it doesn't really matter. And I'm not saying Blizzard does that, but we're trying to be very focused. Now the company is poised to expand its gaze. We always looked at League of Legends as step one for the company, he said. So I do think that there were some shots fired there at Blizzard, somewhat. I know he's saying that there weren't shots fired, but, or he was saying that, I'm not saying that Blizzard does these things as far as just making a bunch of games, and some of the games matter, some of them don't. But what he's basically saying is that we need to be competitive, and we are coming after Blizzard. We are coming after Valve. We are coming after Activision. We're coming for them all. That's basically what Merrill is saying here. And it's a warning to a lot of those games and game developers that, look, you got to be on your A game if you want to keep everything kind of moving in a direction. There's not a lot of competition for some of these games. I mean, CS:GO, not a ton of competition for CS:GO. I think Overwatch is coming, Call of Duty's coming, but it's still slow. And CS:GO's been kind of by itself in the first-person shooter genre by itself for a while. And so now with this coming out, this Project Ares, that's where this is going to get very, very interesting, to say the least. And the open world game, I mean, we're probably a ways off from that. We're probably a ways off from the fighting game, most likely. I mean, maybe not. Project L as well as Project F. The League of Legends Wild Rift, which is the console league game that's going to be coming out. I don't think we're too far away from that. We saw a little bit of some footage from that. Sounds like they're going to be doing a beta, and then that's going to be getting released as well. A lot of these games that they are announcing, like I said, some are going to be coming out sooner than later. I do think, though, that the fighting game as well as the open world game are going to be coming out later. And I think what they're doing, though, is they want to give the fans of Riot Games a feel for, look, there's a slate of stuff that's coming. We're working on all of these different things. They show us footage for some of it, and maybe some of them won't see the light of day, but it's just showing that they care more about making other projects than just sticking with League of Legends, just kind of milking League of Legends, even though they're kind of making a League of Legends, card game, a League of Legends this, a League of Legends that. It just shows, though, that they've got a very strong brand and that they can do that. And that's what's exciting about this. I'm excited for all this. I mean, I'm all in on this. I'm all on board with what they're doing. I can't wait for it. When can we play it, Riot? That's all I got to say about that. Guys, I'm so excited about it. Let me know if you guys are excited about it as well. Guys, what I want to talk about now is about Riot Games and how they've revealed the esports manager for League of Legends. This is something that's really exciting. But Riot Games reveals a League of Legends esports manager coming to the League Pro League in 2020. It will eventually expand into other regions after the LPL. This was written, guys, as an article that was written by .esports by Eva Martinello. And we're going to go through some of it, guys. I'm excited about it. They kind of go through everything that was announced at Riot Games, which I know we've already kind of covered some of it, giving you guys some of my opinion on it. But we'll go through some of the things, especially, of course, the LOL Esports Manager. Riot revealed an upcoming simulation game on its 10-year anniversary event. LOL Esports Manager will allow players to create and manage top-tier esports teams. It will be launched in the LPL next season, will eventually expand into other regional league afterwards. So players will have the experience of creating a team made of professional LPL players and running it by taking game-changing decisions. A feature will allow them to compete with friends to know who has the best team. This game is different than other esports teams simulation games that exist because it will be directly linked to real esports organization and will be used as a monetization tool for them. Part of the revenues generated by the LOL Esports Manager will go back to the teams implemented in the game, offering a new way for fans to support the ecosystem. No information were revealed yet about the price of the game nor its features. So, okay. You want to know what this reminds me of, guys? This is, okay, obviously it's a game, but this reminds me of like fantasy football or something. This kind of reminds me of something like that. I don't know if it's going to be structured like a fantasy football, fantasy basketball, something like that, but that's what this reminded me of, was the LOL Esports Manager is fantasy football. It's fantasy, it's really fantasy League of Legends. I mean, that's what it is, in my opinion. That's what this seems like. It's like that. And it's all based around, how the players perform in the LPL or, just by playing tournaments, whatever it might be. That would be really interesting. We haven't seen anything like that in esports, guys. A fantasy esports game. That if it's kind of what, that's my vision for it, but if that's what this is, man, they got something big on their hands, because obviously League of Legends is a huge game. It's pretty much the biggest game in the world, right? But on top of that, you're adding an esports manager to kind of track, and you can maybe trade players, or you can draft players like onto your league, like when the season first starts and such. And then you can maybe, trade players. You can, have an entire squad. I mean, the absolute possibilities are endless with something like that. And that's what I'm excited about with the LOL Esports Manager. Do you guys think of it as would you guys think of this as a fantasy? like a fantasy League of Legends game that's coming out. That's what I'm kind of wondering. Is it kind of like something where it's going to be a way in which we can, we can obviously get more in touch with what the players are doing, but it's by drafting them. It's by trading those players, really seeing the statistics of each player. Those are things that I think are going to be really interesting as we go through here. I don't know, though. I mean, you guys are going to have to let me know what you guys think about that, because that's something that would be very interesting to me, at least, if this becomes the very first esports fantasy league. Let's just put it that way. And I think that's very well what Riot Games really might be doing at this point. I mean, it certainly could be. It could be the next big thing. I mean, really. And I'm excited about that, without a doubt. Okay, so the next thing, guys, here is Riot Games reveals huge map and gameplay changes for next league season. Dragons are more impactful than ever before. This was written by Tyler Esguerra. And it reads, if you have been keeping up with the big updates that Riot Games will be sending to League of Legends, you'll know that the game will be undergoing some massive changes ahead of the 2020 season. One big change Riot has introduced is that the next preseason will be called Rise of the Elementals, and with it comes huge sweeping changes to the Summoner's Rift. The new Elemental Rift system will alter how every player will traverse the map as their team takes down the various dragons in the game. As teams take down elemental dragons, one element will begin to take over the rift and permanently alter the map as a result. Each elemental rift will impact team fights, rotations, vision, health, and more. For example, infernal dragon takeovers will destroy certain walls and burn certain brushes around the map. Mountain dragons will create new terrain around the map to play around, while ocean dragons will make brushes grow larger and honey fruit plants will spawn more fruits to eat. Cloud dragons will turn certain pathways into wind tunnels, which will allow players to move quickly across the map. Lastly, Elder Dragon will give a ton of late game power to a team that manages to take it down. For example, the dragon now grants an execute to the empowered team that will kill any enemies under a certain health threshold. Smaller additions to the map include new alcoves in the top and bottom lanes, while there are some new brushes near the Blue Bluff River entrances. Look out for Riot's newest developers blog post to see all the details surrounding the map changes for 2020. So this is exciting, guys. I don't have much of a opinion on this. I mean, I'm just excited that they're constantly updating, constantly trying to make the game better, and that's the best part about this. That's what the most exciting thing, in my opinion, about it is that they are consistently going to be changing the map, making it better, trying to kind of adjust things, do little patches here and there, trying to fiddle around with constantly trying to just make the map better, making the meta better, and just trying to change the way in which we approach League of Legends. And I think it's a very smart thing, and I'm excited to see what the future map looks like as far as, with all those changes when they're implemented in 2020. So the new league champ, Senna, has been revealed, guys. She has a really, really big railgun. This was written by Preston Byers. And Lucian's wife, Senna, is coming to League of Legends as the game's next champion. Senna was revealed during today's Riot PLS event in an animated trailer that included Lucian and Thresh. She will be a support marksman, so she should be pretty fun to play as. During the trailer, she came out of Thresh's broken lamp and subsequently protected her husband from a blindside attack from Thresh. She shot a pretty big railgun, which prevented Thresh's hook from presumably killing Lucian. Senna will be on the League public beta environment on October 28th. So, guys, that's very exciting. She's an exciting character, it looks like. I can't wait to really get my hands on and start playing with her as a character. What do you guys think about her as a character? As we said, that League of Legends is expanding to mobile and console games with League of Legends, of course, with League of Legends Wild Rift, which they showed some footage of it, guys. It looks like it's pretty fun. I mean, I just think it's cool that they're bringing League of Legends to consoles. I mean, and it's cool it's coming to mobile as well. It's just more ways in which you can connect with League of Legends. I just think that's really neat. It's happening. League of Legends is coming to console and mobile. As a part of today's special Riot PLS, the League developer announced League of Legends Wild Rift, a console and mobile version of the iconic game. Wild Rift is not a port, but rather a separate game. And that's very important to understand, guys, that it's not a port. It's not a port to the PC version. It is a separate game altogether. It's its own thing. In order to give console and mobile players the best experience, the games will last around 15 to 20 minutes. It will have dual stick controls, but unfortunately, not all of your favorite champions or skins will be in the game, according to Riot. The game's limited alphas is expected to begin in a few months, and the full release is targeted for the end of 2020. So we saw a lot of footage of it. So when we looked at, when you look at the entirety of what they showed off for Wild Rift, and you also saw what they showed off with the FPS game, of course, Project Ares, they don't even have the name for Project Ares yet. So that's why I don't think that 2020 is probably going to be Project Ares when it's going to come out. I feel like that's going to come out in 2021 because they already have the name for Wild Rift, and they have a slate, which is going to be the end of 2020. So we'll probably see that in end of 2020. I would probably predict Project Ares will probably be mid to late 2021. But who knows? Maybe it'll come out sooner. I hope it does. But other than that, guys, we've got a lot of pretty cool, just really cool stuff, man, that's been, coming out onto, like within this live stream, but also just in general, man. It's so cool to see all this, content that is coming out, from the developers over at Riot. We have so many different ways that we're going to be able to connect with not only League of Legends, but now with a first-person shooter, and then with an open world game, and then a console game, and then a mobile game. I mean, it's just so many ways that we can connect with League of Legends. Obviously, I'm the most excited for Project Ares. I'm not going to lie. I'm extremely excited about that. I think it's going to be an absolutely incredible game. A true successor to CSGO, unless we get a CSGO 2 at very, very soon. Which, by the way, where is CSGO 2? I mean, maybe they're not planning on doing it. Obviously, Valve doesn't seem to care enough to do that. They just kind of want to maybe just slowly but surely update CSGO as a game. But it's hard to say. But, guys, I want to hear from all of you. What do you guys think about all of this, as far as, just Riot celebrating their 10 years and all the games and the things that they announced? I feel like it's a game changer, guys. I feel that Riot is making a real push to become the king of esports, and I don't think it's a stretch by saying that. I really don't. The closest competition to them would most likely be maybe Valve or Activision Blizzard. Probably Activision Blizzard more so because they got Overwatch as well as the Call of Duty League, which is going to be, starting this year. It's hard to say, guys. But all I will say is this. I'm very excited about it. And I want to hear from all of you. What do you guys think about all of this, that Riot Games and all the announcements and such? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Subscribe if you're new. Stay positive. And as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.